Yo, 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 what's going on? What's going on? Welcome to Empire Jeff TV, another live stream edition coming to you on a Monday afternoon. 3 p.m. is a little early for me, and most people that watch me usually are catching me later. So I don't really know what the turnout's going to be like today, but I had some early availability and wasn't sure if I was going to have availability later. So I wanted to try to keep the streak going and get a video and a live stream up today. So I do apologize if it's a little outside the normal time range. But I'm just trying to get in where I fit in at this point. You know what I mean? So thank you for everyone who's pulling up. Got some interesting stuff to talk about today. And let me go ahead and get in here. So Goat James, what's up? What's up? Thank you for pulling up. Appreciate the support. Like I said, I originally planned to go live at 3 p.m. Had to handle something, had to push us back about 15 minutes. So I do apologize for the little mix up. I announced it for 3, had to push it back 15 minutes. So I apologize for that. And grateful to those who still pulled up. Anyways, I'm going to give another couple minutes here before we really start diving into this. And a little interesting thing that the league did today. So I'm waiting to see what everyone thinks about that. You know, they already coming with that 65 games. And I was wondering what they were going to do about potential like minute restrictions or just like sitting people and still kind of going within the loophole of those 65 games. It seems like they were really, really trying to get this this in-season tournament popping, and I really know they want people playing in that. And the national TV games have been a problem. They got a new TV deal coming, so they're really trying to get ahead of this and clean this up and really put a dent into load management. And I'm for it. I'm absolutely here for it. I'm excited for it, and I really think that they're gonna get that straightened out now. There's money to be made out there, and there's too much money being left on the table, and there's people not going to games and paying for tickets because they don't know if their favorite players are going to play. So this is some stuff that needs to be addressed. I'm happy that it's being addressed, and I'm absolutely here for it. Joe Soro, what's up? What's up? Thank you for pulling up, my friend. Appreciate you. Make sure you all go out, check out Joe and his buddies over there at Lakers Fast Break. Great show over there. I hope to be on very, very soon. Just getting my own channel back up and running. Then I'm going to be back over there on the regular with them. Good guys over there. Great show. Great content. They're very consistent. Make sure to check them out and subscribe if you don't already. Let's see here. Black Mamba, what's good with you? Thank you for pulling up. This is going to force AD. Possibly, yeah. But AD, I think AD's situation was a little different than some other players' situation. He was legitimately hurt. So that I get where you're coming from. That is kind of funny. But I think AD was like legitimately hurt though. And we should definitely get the chip if we stay healthy. And I agree with that as well, Black Mamba. But that's what I want to kind of talk about and kind of separate a few things. The players like AD versus players like we're going to talk about that. We're definitely going to talk about that. Von Ryan, salute to you. Salute. Thank you for pulling up. I know I'm early today, so I appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate it. So, all right. So I've gave it a few minutes. Like I said, this is a different time slot, so I don't really know what the turnout's going to be. Some people that usually catch me later on at night might just have to catch the replay. So let's go on and get into this. So the NBA went ahead and announced today something interesting that, we didn't really see coming. So the NBA competition committee, which is a smaller group, it's not all the owners, it's not all, the NBA, it's a competition committee that comes up with ways to make the game more competitive, more appealing to fans, sponsors, all these different things. So they had a little interesting meeting, and they came up with not only the 65 game rule for the new CBA, but now they're going about load management and getting star players. If you have one or more star player, that at least one of them have to play in a game where they both can't be out unless they're legitimately hurt. And they're talking about like independent medical examinations, and it's going to be very interesting for teams like the Clippers, teams like the Suns, and even a team like the Spurs, who aren't contenders, but they got Wembanyama over there, and the Spurs were probably going to try to take it easy on him a little bit the first year. Spurs situation is a little bit different. I'm going to touch on that as well. But I thought it was pretty interesting what the league, announced this morning and what they're going to do. So I'm going to go and throw this up here. I know it's a little small on the screen, but I'll throw that up and I'll read this out here. The release that they put out, and Woj being Woj and all, went and confiscated a league memo. So some teams in the NBA were sending him the memo that the league was putting out. Woj got his hands on it, and that's where we are now. So just going to force back-to-backs if docs allow him. Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. They're getting paid to play games, and effectively putting a maximum level of PTO on these players, man. So it's gonna be funny. Angie, hey, thank you for pulling up. Appreciate you. Empire Jeff TV's own Angie B. Appreciate you for pulling up. Thank you for the support. Again, I'm a little earlier today, so I don't know how crowded it's going to get in here today. So let's go and start with this. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, we all know him as Woj, threw a tweet out there early this morning, as did Shams, saying that he said sources, NBA likely to pass tougher rules on resting stars. So technically, this has not been voted in yet, but it's believed that it's going to be voted in, and it's believed that the vote will pass and that it will happen. So with that being said, this is going to be pretty interesting turn of events and seeing what happens. So let's just dive into this. So he says that the NBA is expected to pass more stringent rules and punishments to limit the resting of star players for nationally televised and in-season tournament games and instances of multiple all-stars sitting out individual regular season games, sources tell ESPN on Monday. So the NBA's competition committee recommended a plan that the league's board of governors is expected to approve Wednesday. That's interesting. In 2 days, it would ultimately give the league office authority for greater oversight over discipline for missed games and an ability to fine teams over $1 million for each instant of violating resting rules, the source said. So as the league negotiates a new media rights deal, that's what I was talking about, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has been determined to increase player participation, and the league's goal is strengthening the initial player resting policies that were adopted in the 2017-2018 season and new rules that mandate players participating in the 65 regular seasons games to be eligible for postseason awards. So that's the new CBA portion of it, right? So the NBA is defining a star player, because this is what I was worried about. Like, how are we going to determine what's the parameters? What labels someone a star player? Because we already know people toss around superstar names like it's candy when it isn't true. So I'm saying, how are they going to determine who's a star player and who isn't? So the NBA is defining a star player as someone who's made the All-Star or All-NBA team in any of the 3 previous seasons, the sources said. So the NBA will incorporate a fine system for teams that begin with $100,000 for the first offense, $250,000 for the second offense, and $1 million more than the previous penalty for each additional fine, the source said. So if you do it once, it's $100,000. The second time is $250K, and if you do it the third time, it's $1.25 million. And then if you do it more on that, then it's $1 million on top of the 1 point. So it just keeps adding up, just continues to add up. So a league memo that was obtained by ESPN, that's what I'm saying, Woj got his hand on it, about the changes describes these areas of the new policy. Enforcement of these policies will be based on league office investigations, which will include independent medical reviews. So not team doctors. They will have an independent medical team determine if these players are actually healthy or not. And these are the kind of the bullet points here. Teams must manage their rosters to ensure that no more than one star player is unavailable for the same game. Now, I don't know how this works when you got a team that's only got one star player, so that's going to be interesting. There's going to be a loophole there. Teams must ensure that star players are available for national television and in-season tournament games. So again, the league wants when their product is being broadcasted nationally, and when they got this new in-season tournament that they're going to do for the first time, they want player participation. And the next one is teams must maintain a balance between the number of one-game absences for a star player in home games and road games, with a preference for those absences to happen in home games. So I guess the theory behind that is, the home team will get to see that their player more often than not than the player when they're playing on the road, and someone's favorite player is coming to town, and then maybe they only see them once a year, and they want to make sure that that player is going to play in as many of those games as possible. Also goes on to say teams must refrain from any long-term shutdowns or near shutdowns. When a star player starts participating in games or plays in a materially reduced role in circumstances affecting the integrity of the game. So a la James Harden, a la Damian Lillard. So that is interesting. And then teams must ensure that healthy players resting for a game are present and visible to fans. So they're just doing that even if a player is there, that they're visible. And he's saying that the NBA will provide several scenarios for excused absences or missed games, including those involving regular season back-to-back scenarios, sources said. For example, the NBA will allow pre-approved designated back-to-back allowances for players who are 35 years old on opening night or have career workloads of 34,000 regular season minutes or 1,000 regular season playoff games combined. So that's a lot of information there. And that is pretty crazy. So I think the league has pretty much put these guys on notice. And like my man Eric Kwan just said, thank you for pulling up. Salute to you. Long overdue. I agree with you 100%. This is going to be interesting of how this will affect playoff seedings. Exactly, because I was talking last night that some teams were probably going to take some games off, and I think that was going to help the Lakers get a top seeding, probably Sacramento as well. But now we're going to sit back and look, and now these guys, this is going to really throw a wrench into that and completely undoes my thoughts of what I was thinking last night. This got some teams shaking in their boots right now, for real. The Clippers, and like I said, the Suns. But they did mention some parameters here with players' age and total games and then stuff like that. So there's going to be certain things that that's going to happen there. So DJ, what up? What up? Thank you for supporting, man. I know you got your own stream going on right now, so make sure y'all check out DJ stream as well. I did not plan when I scheduled to go live at the same time as my boy. It just kind of happened that way sometimes. So, but make sure to check out DJ channel. He's got a good one going on over there right now. Chow Lee, hello to you as well. Thank you for pulling up. I appreciate the support. D Prince, thank you for pulling up. I appreciate the support from you as well. So I'm just curious the way this breaks down, because obviously you got a player like LeBron James who was over 35 years of age. He's going to be 39 years of age in December. So his kind of way of going about this might be affected a little bit different. And as when you get them the star players, and they have to be 35 years old at the start of the regular season. So you can't turn 35 during the regular season and get the same type of treatment that LeBron is going to get. So, but that is some interesting information there. So curious to see what you guys think of that. I think everyone's going to like it, because the Lakers, believe it or not, were not a typical quote unquote load management team from the standpoint of just doing it just to do it. AD was legitimately injured, and LeBron James is just old as hell. So when it comes down to it, that's all that we're really doing. And I think team, like I said, the Clippers, the Suns, I'm very interested to see how the Spurs handle this, because within the parameters, Wembanyama doesn't qualify as a quote unquote star player yet. So they still might be able to, to sit him in games. And also, like I said, teams that have one star player, like I don't know, maybe like a team like Sacramento, I think they just have one star. So whoever their second star is. But then again, he hasn't made all NBA. I gotta go back and search through the all NBA teams and see who's made what. But I'm happy that they at least defined it. That has to make an all NBA team or all-star team within the last 3 years. But like I said, there are teams who only have one of those guys. So when they say they can only have one out at a time, for people who have one of those guys, I'm curious to see how the league is going to treat that situation. Kurt says, Kurt, thank you for pulling up. I appreciate for the support. Again, I'm a little earlier today, so appreciate you pulling up, because I know I'm a little off schedule today. Said, what up, Jeff? What's up, all? About time the NBA did something like this. Legitimate injuries, I get, but teams abusing this should get punished. And I absolutely agree with this, and now they're going to. Did Jamal Murray make all NBA? I don't believe Jamal made all NBA, but I think he made an all-star team. I gotta double check. Like I said, when I threw this together, I didn't go and look at resume. So I've got to double check this. I'll have probably a separate video breaking down like all these and have a list and get all that going. But I was just wanting to break down the announcement and put the verbiage out there and put the actual kind of bullet points from the memo that Woj got his hands on, and kind of get out here and talk about this, because I think it's important, and I think it's going to get back to the integrity of the game. I think it's going to make the game more competitive. So the league seems to be pretty serious. Adam Silver has gone in and put in this new CBA to increase competitive balance, right? Going in and creating parity. And now he's going on and put some things within that CBA that make sure that 65 games are there. The second apron is there. Now he's making sure that teams with these players who've got star players who are paying all this money and that get national TV games, that they're going to have to play, because the league's got a new TV deal and they're in negotiations for that new TV deal. So the league wants their best product on the floor, and they don't want these TV partners coming in and say like, well, we want a reduction on what we're going to pay you because you're not putting your best product on the floor. So why should we put our best budget towards your product? And Adam Silver's probably like, no, let me get this correct. Give me a little time. I'm going to get this in check, and we're going to put our best product on the floor, and you will be pleased with it. And I think that is where we are now. I think that's what's going to continue to happen. And I do think that we're going to get a better product on the court as a result of it. Hit Stick Step Up. Appreciate you pulling up again. Thank you for the support. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Thank you. Tim, thank you for pulling up. Appreciate from the support for the support as well. And it says, "Hi Jeff, I'm in the Bakersfield, a Lakers fan for 45 years. Wow, congratulations to you. You've been rocking. Can learn something from you. You've been a Laker fan longer than I've been alive. That's cool. I've been a Laker fan most of my life as well. Nothing but Laker love around here. Appreciate to see true Laker fans pull up, and especially long time and lifetime Laker fans pulling up. So I'm curious, chat. Do any of you guys have a problem with this? Like I don't really think anybody would, unless you're like a Clipper fan, right? So, but even then, I think Clipper fans want their guys to play too. So, I really like what the league is doing, is going after these owners and going after these teams who are trying to find holes in the system and kind of cheat the game and cheat the regular season. And I am interested to see the teams that continue to pay luxury tax and continue to pay money while being in the second apron, if they mind and just continue to pay these fines for sitting out their players. Because at the end of the day, if they believe the best way to have their best success is to sit their players, I can see owners like Steve Ballmer, the new Phoenix owner, the Warriors ownership. I can see them saying, okay, we'll pay the fines and just sit them. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to pay that, and they're going to be penalized, and it's going to be publicly penalized. So I'm curious to see what their strategy is with this, because they had to know about this already because the memo's out there. So I'm curious to see what their strategy is when it comes down to this, and how they go about this. Are they going to pay the fines and continue to sit their players, or are they going to get those players out there, make them play, and not let them sit? Because a lot of it is Kawhi dictating that he wants to sit. Believe it or not, like obviously there are doctors saying this, that, but he's been doing this since before he was a Clipper. So it was kind of his way of doing it. And now the league is looking to really shut that down. I like the new rules on resting players. Yeah, I do as well. I'm really curious to see if anyone does have a problem with it, and if they do, why they have a problem with it. I don't see why anyone would. But again, when you got a player like LeBron James who's going to be 39 years old, the team does have to absolutely be careful with him. And when you got someone who's a little brittle like Anthony Davis, they absolutely have to be careful with him. But at the end of the day, if they're healthy and they're getting paid, they got to get out there and play, because it's important that they do. And it's important to the league, and it's important to the fans, and important to the teams. So, I mean, even if it's a home game, like I said, what you're looking like they're being a little bit more generous with, what if it's that home team fan who only gets to go to one game a year? I don't think it's right that still that player is eligible to play, that they're going to value the road game over the home fan, because even at that point, like the home fan, may only get to go to one game a year. So there's still some loopholes in there, and there's still some holes in there. So we'll see. I wonder if this will have teams have second thoughts on acquiring older players or more injury prone players. Yeah, it could. But again, when you look at the memo, it does say there will be exceptions. If they're communicating with the league, there is an independent medical team that will be looking at this. And if they're legitimately injured, then it's going to be fine. They're not going to face these issues, but they're not going to have their team doctor say this guy's hurt today and then be absolutely fine tomorrow. And they're going to have their own independent medical staff look at it and kind of rule on that from there. I'm sure there'll be appeals. That there will be some interesting feedback coming out from this, I'm sure. Dung, thank you for pulling up. I appreciate you. Lakers dodge a bullet with Kawhi. Yeah, they did. Lakers dodge a few bullets. Kawhi's a great player, very good player. And, his injuries are unfortunate, but it just continues to be the case. And, I hope he gets better. But until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. Taking games off for the game management is way out of hand, and is getting worse each season. Yeah, facts, man. It just continues to grow, continues to get worse, and they continue to just take advantage of it. Like I said, these tickets are expensive. Everything we buy to support our teams are expensive. When we show up, we want to go see these guys. You know what I mean? We want to see these guys play. So I just don't understand why the teams don't understand that, and why they continue to not take the regular season serious, because they're making that regular season money. They take that money serious, right? But then they want to pick and choose what product they put out there, and that's not fair to the average fan, because these tickets are crazy. So I like what they're doing here. What about they just do in-game load management and have enough depth to do that? Just have to make sure we don't play with our food on easier games. Yeah, I mean, I thought about that too as well. But Young Africa, shout out to Young Africa if you didn't catch that stream last night. A little long, but go ahead and circle back and check that out. I was saying that at first. I was saying I could see a guy's playing 10 to 15 minutes, or maybe a little less, just to get that game in, and to then qualify for the 65 games. But then Young Africa made a great point to where a game like that could affect these guys' averages. If you put someone like LeBron James in there, his streak of 10 plus points in consecutive games is pretty high. So if you put LeBron in there for 5 minutes and he scores 6 points, and he's probably gonna want to keep that streak alive, and he also wants to keep his average up, right? So if it's early in the season, a 6 point game or a 4 point game could definitely lower your average. So that's an excellent point, and Young Africa touched on there, and I agree with them. So I think I could see probably now being 20 to 25 minutes. Try to get close to their averages at least, and go from there. So I think my initial assumption of like 5 to 7 minutes or half the first quarter, or whatever it may be, I think Young Africa's point was stronger than mine when it came to that, and going to be very interested to see how they do that. Example: if a person making 41 million a year, they load manage for more than X amount of games, they should lose 500K per game as a penalty. I think this will be a good idea. That probably can't happen for the simple fact that their contract is negotiated, and they'll probably have to go to the players' union. The players' union would never agree to that. That is something that would have to take place during CBA talks, and that one was not included. So this one is teams. The competition committee is recommending that teams be fined, not the players. So I don't think we'll ever see a situation where the players get fined for that. That's kind of playing with fire there in a players league. And Adam Silver seems to be a players coach. I'm sure he has talked to the union about this. He's talked to ownership about this, and probably star players. So, like I said, the CBA that went into effect, the union allowed those 65 games in. So it seems like there's been dialect and there's been conversations about these scenarios going on for quite some time. So it's probably not blindsiding the teams, the players, the agents, or the union. It just got publicly announced today. But if I had to guess, I'm pretty sure this was known by all parties involved for a while now. This will probably force Wemby to play more games than the Spurs had planned. Well, that's what I was thinking. But at the end of the day, he's not labeled a quote unquote star because he's not an all NBA player. He has not made an all-star team in one of the last 3 years. So I don't know if this takes effects. Like if he makes an all-star team this year, does this take place after the all-star game? Like, I don't know. But they don't have a star. He doesn't qualify for the qualifications, what they put in there of making an all NBA team or an all-star team within 3 years, within once of the previous 3 years. So that was one of the first things I thought of, but he doesn't qualify for that. So we will see what happens with that. For real, big factuals, actual factuals indeed. So yeah, so I don't know like how this is going to play out. Like I'm very interested because, like I said, I could see some teams just going forward and paying the fine. I could see Steve Ballmer saying, "I don't care. I've invested all this time and money into Kawhi. If we feel it's best to not rack up those miles on him and get him healthy going into the playoffs," I could see an owner like Steve Ballmer saying, "I'm going to pay it. Like I'm just going to pay for it, and I'll pay those fines, the games that are out." And I can see other teams that are like, "I don't want to pay those fines. That's a little too steep for me. That's a little too expensive," and then not wanting to do it. And then so it's going to come down to the pocketbooks, right? I don't see the Lakers want to pay those fines. I can tell you that right now. I can see a lot of other teams not wanting to pay that fine. So especially when it says it's $1 million on top of the last one. So that first one is 100,000. The second one is 250K, and then the third one is $1 million on top of that. So would it be 1.25 million, and then it'll be $1 million on top of that for each one. So very interesting, and it's going to be very costly to some of these teams. I love Kobe because Kobe never load managed. He knew how important the fans for him to see play. Yeah, I agree. And just load management really wasn't a thing for the bulk of Kobe's career. More towards the end when the Spurs started doing it as Duncan got older. But load management really wasn't a thing for the majority of Kobe's career. But even Kobe himself at the end of his career did load manage, just because after the Achilles tear, the knee and the shoulder, his body was just totally, torn up. So, and he also was at an older age and all those miles, so all those things that the NBA put into the verbiage here of the things they're going to be looking for to qualify for these things. Kobe had blew past all of those. So he would have been fine. And I think LeBron would be fine too, because his age, the amount of miles that he's played. I do think that the Lakers will be able to submit on, reasons on his behalf to not get them fined for it. Because like I said, he's going to be 39 years old. And at the end of the day, the league has that every year they pack the back end of the schedule post NFL with a bunch of LeBron national TV games. So it's in the league's best interest to have LeBron healthy and fresh at that time to really put their product out there, which they heavily force him on television in those time slots. So I think the NBA is going to have no choice but to kind of work with the Lakers on that, because they arrange that schedule to be that way. So, but outside of that, I just want to see what these teams are going to do, because I really don't know. And like I said, are they going to spend the money? Some of the teams, are other teams going to put their guys out there and to avoid having to spend the money? Are they going to put their players at risks? And so on and so on. Teams will find loopholes to load manage players, but putting them on a dummy injury report. Yeah, they're going to find ways. Yeah, they will find ways. But the NBA, like I said, I think the key to this here is the independent medical examiner who's going to be looking at these injury reports and determining if these players are hurt or not. That's important. Hit the like button. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Bill James. Appreciate that. Yeah, please hit the like button. If you're new, please subscribe. If you're watching and you're not new, but you have not subscribed, I appreciate it if you did. Go a long way to help myself and the channel and our community here. Like I said, it's a little earlier than usual. I was planning to come on later, but I had availability. I wanted to get this out there. I still may go live later, depending on what I've got lined up the rest of the day, but I wanted to get out and get in front of this. I had people messaging me, asking me questions about it, so I wanted to put this out there, and I will probably be back later tonight, but I'm not 100% sure. But outside of that, I just want to come on and do a quick video, quick live session on this. So I'm pretty much going to shut this down now, and I appreciate everyone for pulling up. I appreciate the support. Anyone has any questions, please leave everything in the comment section and let me know what you think about this rule. If you need anything clarified, go ahead and let me know. Like I said, if you're new to this channel, go ahead and like and subscribe. And appreciate everyone for pulling up here. I'm going to get this last question here. The league should have their own official doctor to validate injury on players to make sure they are not just putting them there to load manage. And that's exactly what they're doing. So that's what that independent medical examiner is going to do. So that's going to be great. So I'm going to try to come back later tonight, guys. And like I said, got any questions, go ahead and you're welcome, guys. I appreciate you. You guys have a good one as well. Got any questions, go and throw it in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer every one of them, or I might just come back later tonight and kind of do a recap of this and do some Q&A about this, maybe some CBA stuff. And we'll go from that, because I think we're going to continue to see little layers of things they're going to be working towards keeping players on the court to benefit and increase the idea of this new TV deal and make sure they get maximum money for that. So appreciate you. Yes, please come back and pull up and lock in. Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you. But like I said, I think the NBA is going to work hard to put this product on the court and keep these players on the court. They're getting paid a lot of money, and the league wants to see them do it. So once again, you can be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I appreciate that. I thank you guys. I'm gonna try to catch you guys later tonight. So thank you. Have a good one.